right. Can you please tell me what is your name and why'd you come out to Los Santos?
My name is Delphi Dixon. And kind of like I kind of said a second ago. Well, I don't think I said it, but I'm actually from Las Venturas, and I spent majority of my childhood there. Um, Without getting like too into details, I was in and out of foster care. And if I'm being honest, I don't have like the greatest memories there. So I kind of just wanted to, be like a cliche character in a movie and be like, yeah, I gotta get out of this town. I wanted a fresh start. I just kind of moved down south and happened to end up here. And also, I really didn't like living in a city that was like based around gambling. I feel like there's too many people that like come and go. It's a big tourist area, and I wanted to try something different. Um, and even this city is kind of crazy. Like it's kind of busy, but I kind of like the idea of trying to get a property in like Sandy. I don't know. I just want to be somewhere a little more quiet, and this place seems a little bit more quiet and not as big on the gambling as in Las Venturas. So it seemed like a good fit, I guess. Anywhere but there felt right to me.
Okay. What is your prior work experience here in Los Santos?
Well, like I told you, I am pretty new in Los Santos, but right now I work at a storefront in Polito called McMoose, which obviously I like because it's out of the city. It's kind of something to get me started while I try to find a more stable or permanent job. But before I moved here, I did work at a small animal clinic.
Okay, so you like animals.
I love animals, yeah.
All right. The next question is: you see two inmates that are in a fist fight. Okay, what do you do?
Um, well, if there's two people fighting and I'm by myself, that doesn't seem very good for me. So I would probably call for some backup, um, and then try to de-escalate with like verbal warnings, I guess, and try to talk it out and see if I can get them to separate from each other. I think like especially with inmates, I think people kind of forget that whether they're like a criminal or not, they're still a person, and people can be reasoned with. I don't think we need to do anything to hurt someone unless they're hurting each other or anyone else. And obviously, the whole thing is de-escalating, and try to talk to them and remind them that words are have importance and have weight to them. And I think just out of respect, people tend to react well to being treated with respect. And I think if you can just simply talk things out, that's kind of like the best option. And I feel like a lot of these people get treated poorly, and they're so used to people reacting with violence that it might kind of respect that you're trying to do something without immediately going to being like, oh, I'm gonna fucking do this if you don't do this, because I don't know who responds well to that.
All right. All right. So say you've been walking around the gym pop. Okay, and you notice that an inmate has been following you around, and they're trying to talk to you about something that's not very interesting. What do you do?
I mean, they're kind of trapped in a box essentially all day, every day. I mean, depending, on what they did or how long they're here for. But it's probably exciting for them to find someone to talk to. I kind of feel like I feel for them. I mean, obviously, I would hear them out and I would try to talk to them, even if I personally am like, I don't, this conversation is whatever. But at the end of the day, like, I get to go home. I get to have a life outside of this box, I guess. I get to choose who I surround myself with, but they don't ever get that. And some of them will, I mean, depending on why they're here, will never have that again. And I think it's sad. So I guess I would try to take it upon myself to try to get to know each person that speaks to me and listen to them. I mean, I think it's a human right to have a voice, and I think whether or not they're in here or not, they still deserve to have that, even if it's in a small way.
Okay. So say you're walking around again, or you're just standing still, and an inmate ends up coming up to you and tackles you, and then they turn around and walk away. What do you do in that situation?
I guess I would use social cues to, kind of understand the attention. I think it's kind of everyone's job here to build a good rapport with inmates, And sometimes, some people in here might not work or operate the same way as you. But some people do that to show affection or just to like, have fun or joke around. And obviously if it's done inappropriately or they're trying to hurt you, obviously you verbally tell them like don't do that. But like I told you earlier, I think people tend to respond and connect with being actually talked to. Um, like if you think about it, if you did something in your mind that was harmless but upset me, and I immediately started screaming at you or tried to hurt you, you wouldn't really resonate with that well. But if I was like, "Hey, I didn't really like that you did that. Do you mind just not doing that with me?" You'd be more likely to kind of be like, "Oh, okay, I understand." Sometimes it's not like the like what you say, but how you say it. But if it was done maliciously, then yeah, I would be verbal at first, but I would still be very stern to show that I'm actually being serious.
All right. Okay, so a DLC guard that you know, that you remember is banned from the medical care, and is providing the medical to an inmate that is in the infirmary, and they begin to be trapped inside the bed as it squishes them. What do you do?
So you're saying that the officer performing the medical attention is banned from, or the patient is banned from getting medical care from an
The
officer.
DLC guard is who is banned from medical care,
So he's not
is
allowed to
providing
do
the medical
it.
care.
Okay. I would definitely call for people to come or call for some help. I would advise the person who's banned to stop, considering, I mean, there's probably a reason they're banned, and they could, cause even more harm to the inmate. I would obviously take note of the issue and then follow the chain of command to make sure it gets communicated what they were doing. Because if they're banned, they shouldn't be doing it, and it needs to be known that they were doing it. Because what if they do it again?
Okay. All right. So, give you a heads up. Some inmates like to play dress up every once in a while. It's not like all the time, but you see a group of inmates, dress up as aliens, and they begin saying, "Sheesh," while surrounding you. What do you do?
I would call them Zoomers for saying sheesh, and then I mean, if they're not doing anything to hurt anyone or each other, I would just let them be aliens, I guess. I mean, if I was locked up somewhere every second of my day, I might get bored and lose my mind or want to have fun, and I think they deserve that. Even if I think it's weird, I would just let them do their thing as long as it's not hurting anyone.
All
And then call
right.
them Zoomers repetitively and tell them that Fortnite sucks.
All right. An inmate is throwing shoes at you while you're on the catwalks, and you have a lethal on you. What do you do?
Okay, well, I wouldn't need, definitely not need a lethal for a shoe. Um, but I guess pretty much the same as like the tackling answer. Some people just like to joke around or show affection, and I don't really care personally, but like as long as it doesn't cause issues for anyone or no one is upset or getting hurt or whatever, then I really don't care. I would just probably easily dodge because I'm a god and then tell them that they suck and they have terrible aim.
All right. Um. All right. So you hear called out over the radio that there's a shift. So, and then moments later, you hear 13A, which is 13 Alpha, occurs over dispatch, and you see an inmate leaving the area where the officer went down. What would you do?
Well, the first thing would be definitely make sure that it's known and that there are people coming to help. So no, there's help on the way. Definitely figure out a way to make sure EMS knows about it. And be on standby until everything is good and the threat is, I guess, detained. But obviously, the person that I see running, I would try to detain them. If they do have a weapon, obviously, I would tell them to drop the weapon immediately. Um, I guess I would try to reason with them and try to secure the weapon, and then obviously detain them and anyone else around, ensure the safety of everyone until we can figure out exactly what happened or who's all a threat. So just try to get everybody detained that's nearby to make sure that nothing else can happen.
Okay. Um, you see almost all command members having a meeting, or whatever commands are on duty, are having a meeting, and you need to speak to one of them. What do you need to do to be able to speak to him?
Well, I wouldn't not interrupt a meeting. Definitely. I guess I would try to follow the chain of command and talk to who I need to, especially if it's not an urgent matter, and then just I guess wait until the meeting's over or until someone's available to speak, or get someone that following chain of command to pass along the message. I guess for me, it's not urgent.
Okay. You have an inmate in custody, and you see another person running towards you, pulling out a brick from their pocket. What would you do?
Honestly, I would ask this man where he got his pants because if you can fit a brick in your pocket, you got some big ass pockets. Um, but I would be ready to detain him. Obviously, can't really guess what he's gonna do, but I need to make sure I be prepared that if he is gonna try to use it as a weapon, to be prepared. Obviously, tell him to put it down. Obviously, if he gonna hurt people, then I would have to detain him and make sure that it gets taken away. But it's better to stay prepared and then kind of wait and see what happens. Like, obviously, if he's charging me, then I guess it just really depends on the person that is, if you if you know anything about them or if they're actively trying to be a threat to you or not.
All right. Now, the most important
Oh no.
question. Why should we hire you over everybody else?
Why you say everybody else like there's so many people? Is there a lot of people?
Oh, you'll be
To be
surprised of
honest.
how many applicants we get.
Oh shit. Okay.
So,
Oh,
why should we
okay.
hire you over others?
Um, I think I am someone who's coming into this with an interesting perspective. Like I said, I feel as someone who kind of grew up with odds against them in a way. I have an understanding and why people or how people can end up in prison. Um, I don't think that it's simply because like, oh, they wanted to disobey the law. Sometimes when push comes to shove and people, they kind of do what they have to do. Food needs to get on the table somehow. A lot of these people aren't even violent or want to hurt people. I think people, they get put in here even on some petty drug charges. Not that it's not wrong, but it's still like I can understand. And people don't care to ask how or why they did these things. It's just like, oh, you did this, you're bad, you're getting locked up. Um, I don't think that people deserve to be treated inhumanely or terribly just because they were trying to, get something to eat and pay for a roof over their head by selling some fucking weed. Um, a random statistic about like 70% of people of youth who exit foster care as legal adults are actually arrested at least once by the age of 26. So I think there's issues internally with the system being set up for failure. I am luckily not a statistic, but I don't think that a lot of these people had a fighting chance. I mean, I've seen what they've seen, I've been what they've been through. I think I offer an understanding that a lot of others can't. They just simply just cannot understand. um I'm always willing to fight for them. I'm willing to fight for what's right, and sometimes that might be the inmate. um I want them protected as much as I think that every officer should be protected. I'm a very passionate person and understanding, and I work hard, and no matter what odds I'm up against, I feel like I always find a way to come up out of whatever it is. I don't know if I answered your question, but I just had a moment. I
No,
just
no
rant.
worries.
I rant sometimes.
No worries. Can you give me your strengths and your weaknesses?
Um, yeah, I'm very passionate, which I think is a strength. Um, Emotionally intelligent, um, and reliable. Weaknesses, I definitely am really hard on myself, and get really upset when I mess something up. I'm not as experienced in this field as I'd like to be, and I sometimes do get overwhelmed a little easily. I guess those would be negative things.
All right. Do you have any intentions of going over to PD?
I'd wanted to, but I'm not really sure how all of that stuff would work, and I don't know. I'm not sure. I definitely consider it as an option, but I was willing to just kind of see how things work out for me, and if this is in my cards instead, then I guess this is more in my cards.
Okay, okay. How many hours would you think that you'll be able to work a week?
Um, I mean, I can pretty much work as much as needed. So I'd say, like a normal full time job, I guess, about like 40 hours, maybe,
Okay,
maybe sometimes less, maybe sometimes more.
okay. All right. Also to give you um a heads up, if you do get hired, you do get the ability to get on the DLC train every day. Okay. Um, so that train is only to be used just to get on duty, nothing else. All right.
Yeah, I already have like a good training,
Okay.
so I don't have
Okay.
to worry about. You don't have to worry about me abusing anything.
Okay. Just making
Don't
sure.
worry, I already have very good. I
So
won't
do I.
abuse
That's
it. I'm sorry.
that. No, that's fine. So do I. That's good. Okay. Now, do you have any past experience of any law enforcement, security, or anything?
I briefly studied criminology, which I know isn't exactly a yes, but I mean, that's kind of something. I think. Um, I do kind of have a basic understanding of things. Um, I did some loss prevention at the mall before. Does that count?
Yeah,
No,
I
it's not
mean,
exactly the same thing, but
it's somewhat similar. Okay. Now, where do you see yourself, say, 6 months down the road from
mm,
working here?
well, if I was hired, hopefully I am well respected and I do all the things that I say I'm going to do right now in this interview. And I'm just as passionate and willing to help people as I am now. And then I'm happy. Like people's happiness is more important than anything at the end of the day. And if I can contribute happiness by doing my job properly for other officers and for the inmates, then I think I'm doing a pretty good job and making sure people are safe.
All right, then.